Greetings, teachers and fellow classmates. My name is Ieng Davita. I'm from class 7C, and I'm talking about a lesson that's called The Current Lifestyle in the Polar Regions. It's Unit 2, Lesson 5. The content on my presentation is 1. Questions and answers. 2. Research in the Arctic. 3. What's going on in the polar region / Arctic. 1. Questions and answers. Questions. 1. What is the polar region? 2. How does people in the polar region live? 3. What is the lifestyle like in the polar regions? 4. In the polar regions, what kind of businesses are there? 1. What is the polar region? Polar regions are characterized by extremely cold temperatures. This is caused by they getting very little direct sunlight throughout the years. Short and still cold summers. It's also known as the fictional because this region is dominated by the Earth's polar ice caps and northern resting of the Arctic Ocean. How does people in the polar region live? The polar region people choose to live in igloos or snow house. For the most part, they live beyond the climate limits of architecture, drawing a subsistence from hunting, trapping, and fishing, or from pastoralism. Natives adapt to primary ways: the dog sled and snowshoes. For thousands of years, Arctic indigenous persons have hunted animals for food, clothes, and other essentials. Use the materials for polar clothes, for our merino wool, feast, and differences blend, and they have snowshoes. These traditional institute food include Arctic shears, seal, polar bears, and crab roe. They mostly eat it raw or slightly cooked. What is the lifestyle in the polar region? Life in the polar regions is shaped by extremely cold, long winters and either continued daylight or darkness. The daily schedule for people living there is not really the same as us. These groups have adapted to the environment over centuries. These are the schedules. Morning, they wake up and prepare food like dry fish, seal meat, or reindeer stew. Then they check weather conditions, and it's important for outside activities. Children may attend school if it's a settlement. Daytime hunting, seals, whales, and caribou, or fishing, ice fishing in the water. They also craft, making clothes, tools, or sleds. Trading or socializing with neighbors. In the evening, they repair tools, prepare animals' hides, or sew clothes. And they end their day off with telling stories, music, and relaxation with their families. In the polar region, what kind of businesses are there? The polar region is one of the planet's most rapidly changing regions. Shipping, decreasing sea's ice over covers means that sea routes are open more days of the year, allowing shipping companions to navigate the northwest passage between Europe and Asia, like oil, gas and mineral extractions, fishers, and tourism. But the most common are fishing and tourism. 2. Antarctica. The Arctic region. The Arctic is a polar region located at the northernmost part of Earth, and the Arctic regions from the IERS referencing meridian traveling east consists of part of northern Norway, northernmost Sweden, and northern Finland, Russia, and United States and Canada. The Arctic region covers part of the Arctic region covers parts of 8 countries: Canada, Greenland, Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Russia, and the United States. The Northern Lights, or an aurora. The aurora, Vincent, with over 15 years of seeing, the aurora explains the northern lights are caused by electricity change particles that released by the sun. Then amazing light would happen only for 15 to 30 minutes. The animals in the Arctic. It's the driest and coldest place on Earth, and yet around 235 animal species called Arctic home. But for today's topic, I'm going to only list 9 of them to talk about. There's the polar bears, king penguin, the humpback whale, the blue whale, reindeers, seal, Arctic fox, and walrus. 3. What's going on in the polar region / Arctic? The Arctic is warming faster than anywhere else on the planet, and as a result, sea ice in the Arctic Ocean is decreasing. That also means the level of sea water is increasing. That can also affect other places in planet Earth and could make other animal species die out. This is mostly caused by climate change and chemical in the air and in water. Thank you for listening to my presentation. And thank you to teacher Helmoto and my classmate for listening and watching me presentate.